Also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Okansi. Tonight, special prosecutor to drop charges against one accused person in the National Petroleum Authority scandal trial as he set to testify as a prosecution witness. That's generated some conversation and reaction. We'll get into it and hear from some lawyers on this matter tonight. Stay with us. Also, government announces full-scale probe into aspects of the arrears audit report as findings reveal state coffers have been saved some 8.1 billion cedis. Stay with us. Got a conversation on this tonight. The former legislator now who was returned to Parliament as Member of Parliament for Ewaso East constituency, Baba Jamal. The Speaker of Parliament has been commenting on his return. He wants nothing but excellence from Baba Jamal. Stay with us. We'll have a conversation on this and more. As always, you're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. As always, connect with us. Let's get the conversation going. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor has dropped the charges against one of the directors of KEL Logistics Limited, Albert Ankra, after the fourth accused agreed to testify as prosecution witness in the ongoing criminal case against former NPA CEO Mustafa Hamid and 9 others in court on Tuesday, March 10. Principal Prosecutor with the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Adelaide Kubiri Wood, informed the court that following discussions with Albert Ankra, the fourth accused in the matter, and his lawyer, the prosecution has withdrawn the charges against him and will proceed with him as a witness. Government says it is bent on bringing to an end the deliberate plunder of the public purse following reports on arrears and payables as of the end of 2024 by the Auditor General, Ernst & Young, and PricewaterhouseCoopers. An amount of 8.1 billion cedis has been rejected due to unsupported documentation, duplication, overstatements, and falsified store receipts.
We will verify everything that the Auditor General has discovered, and we will make sure, this Parliament will make sure, that everybody who is indicted in this audit report is held accountable. That has to happen. I don't understand how you can be defensive of a report like this. Indeed, it should excite your curiosity. You should want to know more. You should want us to go into it.
Engineers overseeing construction works under the Accra-Tema Motorway expansion project have suspended the traffic diversion on the Accra-Medina stretch near the Tetekwashi interchange after Monday's gridlock triggered widespread frustration among motorists. Although the suspension and a possible review of the traffic management strategy could affect the project's timeline, Site engineer Kwabna Bimpon says the decision was taken in the interest of the traveling public.
Fortunately, probably the communication didn't go well because some people said they didn't know about it and therefore they couldn't use the alternative routes that we had proposed. The unfortunate thing is that the other routes were also equally blocked. So it isn't just a question of planning. It did not work as we expected. Okay. So you have planned the other routes. I don't know what happened yesterday because we seem to have had quite a lot of traffic in town.
Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Dr. John Abdullahi Jinapor, has announced that beginning the end of March, there will be planned power disruptions to allow for the installation of 1,500 transformers aimed at reducing overload and minimizing power outages. The announcement was made at the launch of the Electricity Company of Ghana's 5-year corporate strategic plan.
Why are we having those outages that you are talking about? Because we are not sharing load. And it's turned out that because of years of underinvestment, a lot of the transformers are obsolete, they are overloaded, and they are unable to withstand pressure. So I've gone to lobby Minister of Finance, and it's agreed that he will support us, so that we'll procure 1,500 transformers. You're going to see a lot of injection of transformers. That would cause a little bit of disruption, but we'll announce it, we'll pre-inform you, but bear with us when we are changing the transformers.
With 93 days to the 2026 World Cup, Ghana's high-performance coach John Pencil says he expects a difficult game when the Black Stars face England. Ghana will meet England in their second game at the Mondial on June 23.
It's going to be beautiful, and it's not going to be just football. It's going to be more than football. And then, for me, as a technical team, we are looking forward to it. It's always going to be crucial. We will say it's a local derby, although they are far from Africa, but I see it as a local derby. You know, when it comes to local derby, the one who wants more can go for it.
There's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and also on 3FM 92.7 for those of you who are driving on the road or listening to us on the radio. We know that it's raining in most parts of the capital and in fact, and beyond, some parts of the eastern region. We're getting reports from Akosombo and other places as well that it's raining as we speak. We'll keep tabs on this rainy situation tonight. But as always, proudly brought to you by Flamingo Paint, Simply Superior. Sasso insecticide spray and call Kumtumtum Preko. Coming up next year on Ghana Tonight. Government announces full-scale probe into aspect of arrears audit report as findings reveal state coffers have been saved some 8.1 billion Ghana cedis. That's the information that the Deputy Finance Minister put out earlier today, and that's what has generated quite some concern and conversation. And beyond what has been announced today, there has to be some verification and all of that, as we see in the coming days will play out. But government is saying that it is bent on bringing to an end the deliberate plunder of the public purse following reports on arrears and payables as of the end of 2024 by the Auditor General Ernst & Young's, the private auditing firm, and PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC. An amount of 8.1 billion cedis has been rejected due to unsupported documentation, that's number one, duplication, and then overstatements and falsified store receipts. These are the four major areas where these monies, as a result of this forensic audit, has been saved. Let's take a listen to the Deputy Finance Minister, Sampim Dakon, on the floor of Parliament earlier today regarding the details of this forensic audit which was put out. Take a look.
Out of the 68.7 billion Ghana cedis submitted for audit, a total of 45.4 billion Ghana cedis was deemed to be valid for payment. A total of 8.1 billion Ghana cedis was rejected for various reasons, including unsupported documentation, duplication, overstatement, already paid items, falsified stores receipt advice, and no work done. Then Ministry of Trade and Industry in 2024 submitted a request of 89.4 million Ghana cedis to the Ministry of Finance to be transferred to 5 commercial banks as government's contribution to interest payments under the One District, One Factory initiative. When auditors contacted these 5 banks to confirm the liability, every single one of them denied being owed any amount by government under the said arrangement. Without the audit intervention, a whopping 89.4 million Ghana cedis of hard-earned public money could have been disbursed to settle this non-existent liability. Payment of 10.5 million Ghana cedis was recorded as having been made into an account named the buffer account at a commercial bank. Upon verification, the bank confirmed that it had never received such payment. The account number cited did not exist within the bank's records and did not even conform to its account numbering format. The evidence from the audit pointed to a completely fictitious account. A contract between the Ministry of Defense and a company for vehicles intended for border surveillance and monitoring of the 2024 general election revealed that despite the issuance of stores receipt advice, which is an official document confirming that goods have been received, dated 12 October 2024, the vehicles were never delivered. Similarly, the Judicial Service appeared to be caught in a web of falsified stores receipt advice. While an SRA dated 25th October 2024 claimed the receipt of 7 Toyota saloon cars, as soon as the audit was initiated, the supplier wrote to the Judicial Service on 10th April 2025, indicating their inability to supply the said vehicles as scheduled. The Ministry of Finance will no longer serve as a rubber stamp for weak controls and falsified claims. Going forward, no payment will be made without full verification, no commitment will be entered into without budgetary allocation, and no officer, regardless of rank, will be shielded from accountability. This moment marks a decisive break from the past, a reset of public financial management, a declaration that discipline has returned to the center of fiscal and economic governance.
That's the Deputy Finance Minister there. So all of the sources of this malfeasance that they have identified after this forensic audit, it's as a result of fictitious claims, recycled invoices. We're talking about some of these repeated receipts that were put across for payments to be made. In fact, in some cases, bank accounts were provided that didn't have any trace at the said banks and in their account. That's quite worrying, to say the least. And it's a conversation we're going to be having shortly with persons who have been following these cases of corruption and corruption-related offenses and accusations of corruption over the last couple of years gone by. But this is what all of this is, the total amount of money in terms of the arrears submitted for audit. So these are monies, either IPCs and others submitted by contractors and other persons who were engaged by ministry, department, and agencies and other government organizations by the end of the year 2024. Now, they submitted their interim payment certificates, that's the IPCs, and their invoices for government to pay them for work that they said they have done. So this administration takes over in 2025 in January and says, well, hold on, I'm not going to make any payments from January 2025. I want to audit all these interim payment certificates that contractors have brought that they have executed some work for government, and invoices that people have brought that they have provided some services for government to be paid. And all of these bank transfers as well. We're talking about IPCs and invoices over 50 billion Ghana cedis and over 18.2 billion bank transfer advices that were actually pending. All what was needed was for some directive for payment by the finance ministry or some signatory to be put in place. And then these monies would have been transferred to these persons who say they have worked, totaling almost 69 billion Ghana cedis. After the forensic audit, this is what we understand has happened, the findings. Just about a little over 45 billion, we understand, have been validated for payment after it. And we'll put that on the screen right now. It gives you a clear picture of what we're dealing with. A little over 13 billion is pending verification. What that means is after all the verification is done, if they are indeed ticking all the boxes and this is proven that work has been done, then they will be paid. But guess what? Over 8 billion Ghana cedis were found to be fictitious claims, recycled invoices, and all of these have been rejected. And so essentially, you hear the Deputy Finance Minister saying that this much has been saved the public purse. What we're talking about is that in terms of, for instance, rice procurement, let's do the specific instances of the fictitious claims and then also these recycled invoices that amounted to the over 8 billion that we have been saved of as a country. According to the Deputy Finance Minister, we paid for some 34,000 metric tons of rice that was procured. Only 24,000 was received. 10,000 metric tons of rice has gone missing, according to the forensic audit report. That's not the only one. So some maize procurement, over 100,000 maize procurement, and guess what? Only 11,900 metric tons was delivered. Over 88,000 metric tons of maize that has been paid for. In fact, that contracts were actually put in, were not delivered. Then the ministries, department, and agencies that had persons submitting IPCs and invoices that they had done some work for these MMDAs, but then there were no supporting documents to the said works that these contractors and service providers that they have provided for. For instance, the Ministry of Gender, somebody's total of 241.2 million invoices, IPCs, were submitted. Ministry of Roads, the contractors, over 26 million Ghana cedis without supporting documents. Judicial Service, over 18 million. Ministry of Special Initiative, that ministry doesn't exist anymore, so we do know. 3.7 million claims without supporting documents. That has also been denied. Ministry of Health, 2.4 million claims without supporting documents. The Attorney General's Department, guess what? 780,000 Ghana cedis claims without supporting documents. The total of all of these claims that had no supporting documents, which has actually been rejected after this forensic audit, is 293 million Ghana cedis, and some of it also being verified as we speak. The overstated claims by some of the agencies, according to the Deputy Finance Minister, Department of Urban Roads, over 57 million claims were overstated. Ministry of Transport, almost 40 million Ghana cedis. Department of Feeder Roads, almost 23 million Ghana cedis. So we're talking about public funds, just bear that in mind. Ministry of Agriculture, almost 21 billion. And then Ghana Highways Authority, almost 18 billion. And a number of these instances involve the road sector, okay? And because we're engaging a lot of contractors who are, constructing roads for the state, funded by government or other agencies. With that matter, in fact, that is what has generated some focus on these roads that have been awarded for contract and what kind of focus should be on it going forward. This paints another picture. You heard the Deputy Finance Minister talk about Agenda 111 and then 1D1F. Those two projects were two major project areas that they looked at. These were monies that were paid but no mobilization done. $7.9 million had been paid for advanced mobilization. So this is money they give to the contractors for some mobilization in advance of the execution of their contracts that have been awarded them. 35 contractors were involved in this particular scheme, and guess what? Zero. None of them mobilized to site or performed any proportional work. So they took the money, but none of them actually did the said advanced mobilization for any sort of work done on the ground, because they went to these areas where the roads were to be contracted and they didn't see anything. So the mobilization guarantees for these contractors or the contracts have entirely expired from what the Deputy Finance Minister put out. This is a picture that creates quite some trouble. But here's why I bring in Justice Abdullahi. He is a private legal practitioner and then also an anti-graft crusader. He's joining us. Justice Abdullahi, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. I mean, when you read some of these things, it's quite jaw-dropping, I mean, to say the least, is it not? Taking into consideration what the Deputy Finance Minister said in Parliament today.
Alfred, I do not know if there is any Ghanaian who is still very comfortable with the previous administration and the plunder, the daylight thievery that we were subjected to, the literal robbing of the public purse that we witnessed. It is very unfortunate that after 1 year, we have not taken any active steps to forensically audit the entire 8-year administration of the Akufo-Addo administration. I think that the entirety of what amounted to oral, for me, is only a tip of the iceberg. I think this revelation of 8 billion is nowhere close to the amount of plunder, the public purse that have been raped by the previous regime. If we subject that regime to forensic audit, I think we would uncover way more than we are talking about today. But having said that, I am even more saddened by how we have been so silent and quiet over all the allegations of corruption and the rot that we witnessed in the previous administration. I am more saddened by the inactivity to subject members of the previous administration to the rigors of the law. All the people that we accused or suspected of having been involved and engaged in corruption are still walking around. And all the allegations that were made, nothing has been done on a lot of them. Of course, it also came as a surprise that some of those that we'd never heard of have seen the light of day and are presently being prosecuted. But it's never enough. It's never enough. It makes us feel and look like every time you scream and shout wolf, it's really much ado about nothing. And we can never run a country where we constantly accuse people of corruption and never do anything about it. It's a defeatist system, and it rather encourages rather than deter people from engaging in corruption and corruption-related issues. And I strongly encourage this administration to pursue all the corruption allegations we made against the previous administration, members of the previous administration, and those who were politically exposed. I would, at this point specifically, also remind all of us of the former health minister and all the scandals that we witnessed with the COVID scandals. I'll remind all of us of the previous, I think the roads minister who single-handedly lifted and, if you like, revoked the charges and toll levies without any parliamentary authority. Wherever he got that authority from, I still insist that we need to investigate that conduct. I think if you would remember faintly, Esla Osu and the matters that she got involved with, we need to investigate these matters. I think that these are those that we ordinarily accused of corruption in public. If nothing is being heard of those matters, I think that we are not doing each of us any good service, and it makes any form of accusations of corruption and corruption-related issues of public servants and indeed politically exposed people, if you like, laughing stock, and that is not what we would need. It becomes pure rhetoric of public and, if you like, political campaigning, and that is not how we run a country. You do not accuse a person damage the person's reputation if you do not have any basis for doing so. Once we accuse people of being corrupt and other things, I expect that we put them before court. I expect that we make them answer to the charges and allegations leveled against them so that they get exposed or vindicated.
But you said you are saddened by the inactivity because people were accused and allegations leveled against people for being engaged in corruption. And that makes you sad because there's not much activity in that regard because there was a lot of corruption allegation against persons who served in the previous administration. But then again, two ways. First of all, quite a number of cases already in court, one. Secondly, allegations obviously would have to be proven in court. And accusations of corruption, as you know, would have to be proven in court beyond reasonable doubt. So where is the sadness coming from?
My point that we cannot falsely be accusing people when we do not have any basis for doing so, which is why I'm insisting that all those who were accused, all those who were mentioned in the oral report, all those that we suspect to have committed corruption, we need to put them before court. I admit that white-collar jobs are very difficult to investigate and to prosecute, but that should not be an excuse for us to sit down for almost 1.5 years. If we accuse people, let them be prosecuted so they get vindicated or convicted. This is what we should be doing. We should walk the talk. It is part of how we sanitize the system. So we don't go around accusing people falsely when they have not done anything wrong. This is why I insist and call on the Attorney General, the government, to put all those that we accuse of corruption, whether in the form of, whether they came as part of the oral report or they came through all the public accusations we made during the electioneering campaign, or they came through any other means, tip-off or otherwise. Let us put all of them before court today. The fact that, and Alfred, this is the other side. You do not even need to conclude your investigations before you put people before court. Once you have sufficient information that could ground a prima facie case, it is enough to start the prosecution and then pray for time to conclude your investigations. This is what we do all the time. The police would always come to court informing the court that they are still investigating the matters and that if they do not bring the suspect to court, the suspect may end up either interfering with the investigation or most of the time, interfering with the investigation. And so they bring them before court for the court to either put them in custody or take steps that would ensure that the people are unable to leave their jurisdiction by the time the investigation is over, or to interfere with the investigation in total, in general. This is how prosecutions are done. But the continuous rhetoric, continuous accusations, and continuous name-calling without any action must stop now. We need action. Action must speak now. Action should be the walking talk and not the continuous and constant accusations of people. I think we have, after 1 year, we should be, moving away from simply talking about it and doing something, showing that indeed we mean business.
I see. And this narrative you put out feeds into that position that others hold, that oral is on a slow path of achieving any objectives or this particular outcome that persons expected with the promise of oral. And one person who served on that preparatory team is joining us. Martin Kpebu is private legal practitioner. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. And I know you did listen to Justice Abdullahi, also your colleague, lawyer, or your learned colleague on the other side, making the point about, look, it's been over a year, and now we're having another set of, outcomes as a result of this forensic audit by the Finance Ministry. I'm sure you've seen the details of it, as was put out by the Deputy Finance Minister earlier today on the floor of Parliament. But he says it's been over a year, not much has been seen when it comes to prosecutions of persons that, were accused of being engaged in corruption in the previous administration. So you served on the oral preparatory team. What's happening?
A lot is happening. A lot is happening. It's just that I also reckon that, we are now in a society where, we want things done at the speed of light. You see, we have bullet trains, etc. We are now super fast. So it appears societies move faster than the pace at which court cases are conducted. That's where the disconnect is. Societies become extra fast. So you see outside the courtrooms, Pro Max, big gadgets, cars, the latest cars, etc. But you go into our courtrooms and we are still using decades-old technology. We are still typing at snail pace. A were him, B were him, kind of typing court proceedings. A judge will give you an order right now, but it has to be typed. If you are not careful, sometimes you get it 4 days later, 1 week later. That is the kind of justice system we're operating. So it's okay that Abdullah, yes, I see he's a lawyer, but he's also wearing the cap of a citizen, so he wants to join in complaining. It's okay. If we don't complain, we'll get complacent, right? So that's saying that you tina wan kasahua, ye boni. Yeah, so I think that's what Abdullah is doing. We should encourage it.
He says it appears we only just accuse these persons and, just for the politics of it, and not much has been done in proving those accusations for prosecution, for that matter.
No, that's why I mentioned earlier. Yes, I heard him, and I'm telling you that my understanding of it is that Justice Abdullah, in making that comment, is wearing his hat as a normal citizen. He doesn't want to be holding brief for the system. That's why he's joining in the chorus, because look, the justice system is way backward. It's backward. It's backward. Sometimes you sit back and you're like, this is we are holding. Look, let me tell you, if you want to serve people to come to court, invite people to come to court. This morning when we went to court, the thing was done more than a week ago. The technology we are using, the officer to go and serve it. I couldn't serve. You didn't come here to assist me. So many easy, just invitation, call it invitation letter to come to court. The issues we have, that's the bailiff system. So you see myself, I'm on record to have said that if Chief Justice Bafu Boni can help, let's sanitize the bailiff system so that we'll open it up and employ thousands of unemployed graduates. It will help a lot, because right now there are very few people who send invitation letters, okay, to people to come to court. That's, if you want, the technical word is hearing notice. I don't need technical words. If I say invitation letter to come to court, everybody will understand it better than hearing notice. Yeah, it's choked. We are like, what are we doing? Meanwhile, you come and check, lawyers, we are holding iPhone 17, iPhone 16, 17, the latest cars, the latest suits, etc. But we are not paying attention to the justice system. The tools we use, the tools of the trade are outmoded. The people, even we lawyers, we need to upgrade. It's a whole lot. So that is what Abdullah is saying, because I understand you to be saying, listen, if he wants to come and explain why things are slow, then it's like we are taking it normal. So rather he will join in complaining. Yes, I understand him. So he's joining in complaining because you not one kasahua. You bunny, they will give you a bad haircut. Right? So that is why it's happening. But otherwise, a lot is happening. Ayuni doesn't sleep. Ayuni doesn't sleep. He's all aura. You go to his office, evening, morning, afternoon, it's all aura. The cases, I think, you see, to be fair, and I've mentioned before, yes, I see he's working very hard, yeah, but now, where the challenge, from where I sit, okay, and seeing the way the system works, I think we need to recruit more prosecutors, more lawyers to help, and more investigators. Yes, I think that one is a fair comment, even though I'm not in his shoes.
Right.
I don't see everything he sees. But what I can see with my eyes is that I don't see that the number of prosecutors has increased astronomically, which is very important. I don't see that the number of investigators has increased. Yes, I'm aware he has a special investigation squad, etc. But if maybe there were 40 and 50, but now I'm sure we'll see the results faster. So yes, more resources, that's the word.
Okay. Well, Council, stay with me. And thank you for your thoughts on this matter, but stay with me. Don't go as yet. Thank you, Justice Abdullahi. Thank you so much for joining us with your thoughts on this. Private legal practitioner and lecturer at the UPSA Law Faculty. Coming up next year on Ghana Tonight, let's still stay on the matters of court, but special prosecutor is set to drop charges against one accused person in the National Petroleum Authority scandal as he is set to testify as a prosecution witness in the trial that is ongoing involving the former NPA boss Mustafa Hamid. Well, this is a matter that we have been following quite closely, and as has been reported earlier today from the Office of Special Prosecutor has indicated that it will drop charges against one of the directors of KL Logistics Limited, Albert Ankra, after he agreed to testify as prosecution witness in the ongoing case, or this criminal case against the former CEO of the NPA, Mustafa Hamid, and 9 others. The OSP, according to what we're gleaning, will therefore have to amend the current charges filed against the accused persons. Now, in court earlier today, Principal Prosecutor with the Office of Special Prosecutor, Adelaide Kubiri Wood, informed the court that following discussions with Albert Ankra, the fourth accused in this matter, and his lawyer, the prosecution has withdrawn the charges against him and will now proceed with him as a witness for the prosecution. Now, the principal prosecutor further requested time to file a fresh charge sheet, noting that this development would then change the prosecution's approach to the case. But here's exactly what the prosecution said in court, and this was transcribed based on our witnesses and then our senior court correspondents who sat through this case to observe it earlier today. The Office of the OSP has since taken a decision not to proceed with the prosecution of the fourth accused person, Albert Ankra, but rather put him before the court as a witness for the prosecution. This says today in court, the prosecution announced that the fourth accused has approached the office expressing willingness. This is what the OSP is saying, that today in court, the prosecution announced that the fourth accused has approached the office, that's his office, expressing willingness to serve as a prosecution witness. So this is what the OSP said, that Mr. Ankra approached it. The office currently is considering his request. This is what the OSP said. But in court today, the OSP says, and this is it, that they have since taken a decision not to proceed with the prosecution of the fourth accused person, Albert Ankra, but rather put him before the court as a witness for the prosecution. So there's some two contrasting positions in here. So from what we understand, this is what went on the records of the court earlier today. Lawyer Matibebo, I'll bring you in here, but taking into consideration what happened in court and what the OSP is actually saying as well, that there's actually consideration now for this fourth accused to be a prosecution witness. Counsel.
Yeah, so for me, I see it as a huge step forward in unraveling the case. Huge step forward because I'm assuming that yes, the prosecutor, this Mrs. Wood, or is it Miss Wood, Adelaide Kubiri Wood, knows what she's talking about. Because, you see, when an accused person has agreed to come and testify for you, that means that he'll be speaking as an insider, somebody who was part of the transactions that are alleged to be illegal, that are alleged to be criminal. It means that his evidence will be weighty. It brings great insight into the case. So, from where I sit, I assume that what they've heard from Mr. Ankra is weighty enough for them, that's the OSP, to withdraw this Ankra as an accused person and to use him as a witness. So it's going to help extremely. It's going to help make the case easier because this is somebody who is alleged to be with those people. And now he says, I'm coming from deep down the river to come and tell you what happened. Like the way we say that when a frog comes from deep down the river to tell you that crocodile is dead, you can't argue with that the frog. That's the analogy I can see. So he was with them.
I see. But kindly hold on a bit for me. Andy Apiakubi is also your learned colleague, private legal practitioner. He's lawyer to Chairman Wontumi in another case. They're also involved in the OSP. But Andy Apiakubi, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Also, a former member of parliament for the Asante Achim North constituency. Appreciate your time. Now, first off, what issues do you have with this approach by both the Attorney General and the OSP to have accused persons who come in willingly testify as prosecution witnesses?
Yes, indeed. I'm very disappointed at the approach of the Attorney General's department in prosecuting criminal matters. What has been the norm lately has been that Attorney General will entice accused persons to become prosecution witnesses against other accused persons. And I don't think that is fair, because the people who have been accused of having committed some crimes are now being turned into support Attorney General's case. It is a possibility that they will be motivated by their release and therefore tender evidence beyond would qualify as credible evidence. So it is not, for me, it's not the best way to prosecute alleged criminals. So when you attract somebody, his motivation is that he's left off the hook, and therefore he has to also give the Attorney General some leverage by testifying in support of the Attorney General's case. I'm not sure that this is the best way to go ahead with prosecution. It is turning out to be that Attorney General seeks to obtain conviction by all means. That is not the mandate of the Attorney General. Indeed, if he finds evidence that supports the accused person's case, the Attorney General is duty-bound to provide that evidence to support even the prosecution's, the defense case. But the way it is, people who would have given witness statements against the Attorney General, who actually would otherwise have been prosecuted as accused persons, it turns the whole thing upside down. So it is not the best of situations. Is it the case that Attorney General cannot find evidence on his own and seeks to court some accused persons to? And in my particular case, there is this person who is being used as a prosecution witness. He comes into the box and he says that I have done A, B, C, D, which is contrary to the law.
I see. But then again, in this particular case of the special prosecutor, which is under consideration now, he says this Albert Ankrah, with his lawyers, approached his office to now request, and in fact, it was upon his own prayer and pleading that he be made a prosecution witness. It was not by the convincing or the coaxing or coaching of the OSP. And in fact, the Attorney General has maintained in previous instances where similar cases have happened, where accused persons have now agreed to testify as prosecution witnesses, that there's no coaxing or coaching or convincing. They come on their own prayer and plea. So where are you getting this from?
This one bit. How come that those persons didn't come as accused prosecution witnesses, but having been charged as accused persons, then they come and submit themselves to you and say that we want to be prosecution witnesses? This you can tell the Marines. You cannot tell us that this has been the case. And it is becoming too many that people who are otherwise accused and brought to court under some charges turn out to be prosecution witnesses against other accused persons. It is so unfair, because there's also a possibility that they even go beyond what they know to also become witnesses. It is a stereotype. They are coached to come and give evidence against others. And in most cases, you see that the evidence they give, they are not consistent. A lot of lapses in the evidence, but is also very bad. So we don't have to find people who are accused persons and say because of we are political lineage, we need to find a way to convict you by all means. And that is why some of the people are being turned out to be prosecution witnesses. In fact, we live to see. But let us all not forget that the criminal justice system is there for all of us. And now, today, we have somebody who is facing criminal charges and who is being prosecuted and getting people to prosecute him as witnesses, also people who would have otherwise have committed offenses.
I see, but Martin, people, let me end with you on this. The concern, and the Honorable Andy Appiah-Kubi raises as well, is that to the extent that these accused persons, before they are made prosecution witnesses, the charges against them are dropped. So that is more like an enticement for accused persons to now want to testify as prosecution witnesses. Do you share in that concern?
Well, you see, by its nature, plea bargaining involves a quid pro quo. Okay? Yes, quid pro quo. So sometimes you come and volunteer some information that's so weighty that they will decide not to continue with your prosecution. To say that those persons will be motivated to lie, yes, we cannot rule it out, but the saving grace is that whatever the witness comes to say, he'll be subject or she will be subject to cross-examination. So the other lawyers will get to ask. So in the case of Appiah-Kubi, when that thing happened, that one of Chairman Wontimi's personal assistants or workers who was standing trial with him volunteered to give information. Yes, I'm sure Appiah-Kubi had the opportunity to cross-examine him. That's the system we have. It's been there for decades. You say, those are some of the shortcomings of the system. But that's the way it's been. It's been centuries that if you bring somebody who was a co-accused to come and testify, he'll be subject to cross-examination. So, well, you know, I always say, well, as people complain, we'll think twice and see if there's a way we can, you know, improve the system. But that's what it takes. The person says, listen, I'm accused of an offense. Now, I want to come and volunteer to help the state so that my charges will be dropped. That is it. The law allows for it. The law allows for it. You see, the law allows for it. So if you think, and you see, it's not just Ghana. You see it in the UK. You see it in the US. I mean, all the, well, I won't say all, most of the advanced countries that I've seen, it's allowed. The person participated, he's sorry, he's remorseful, so now he wants to make it easier for the state to prosecute, and he says he wants to come in and spill the beans. Are we now being told that no, we shouldn't take it? That's how come that I say the remedy to it is that there's what we call cross-examination. Yes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Martin Preble is private legal practitioner. Andy Appiah-Kubi is private legal practitioner as well. Gentlemen, appreciate your time here on Ghana Tonight. We're going to go for this quick break. When we're back, we have a conversation on the new man in Parliament, not necessarily new, but with a new constituency, Baba Jamal, and what the Speaker of Parliament expects of him. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
This Ghana month, Creator Circle brings you the ultimate creator experience. Play and Connect is back!
An exciting afternoon of fun, games, collaboration, and powerful networking awaits you at the Ghana Village on the Media General premises.
Join us on March 20th, 2026 at 3 p.m. to connect with fellow creators, build new relationships, and create unforgettable moments.
Visit creators.africa to register. This event is proudly sponsored by EcoBank and supported by Games on Wheels GH.
This Ghana month, Creator Circle brings you the ultimate creator experience. Play and Connect is back!
An exciting afternoon of fun, games, collaboration, and powerful networking awaits you at the Ghana Village on the Media General premises.
Join us on March 20th, 2026 at 3 p.m. to connect with fellow creators, build new relationships, and create unforgettable moments.
Visit creators.africa to register. This event is proudly sponsored by EcoBank and supported by Games on Wheels GH.
This Ghana month, Creator Circle brings you the ultimate creator experience. Play and Connect is back!
An exciting afternoon of fun, games, collaboration, and powerful networking awaits you at the Ghana Village on the Media General premises.
Join us on March 20th, 2026 at 3 p.m. to connect with fellow creators, build new relationships, and create unforgettable moments.
Visit creators.africa to register. This event is proudly sponsored by EcoBank and supported by Games on Wheels GH.
This Ghana month, Creator Circle brings you the ultimate creator experience. Play and Connect is back!
An exciting afternoon of fun, games, collaboration, and powerful networking awaits you at the Ghana Village on the Media General premises.
Join us on March 20th, 2026 at 3 p.m. to connect with fellow creators, build new relationships, and create unforgettable moments.
Visit creators.africa to register. This event is proudly sponsored by EcoBank and supported by Games on Wheels GH.
This Ghana month, Creator Circle brings you the ultimate creator experience. Play and Connect is back!
An exciting afternoon of fun, games, collaboration, and powerful networking awaits you at the Ghana Village on the Media General premises.
Join us on March 20th, 2026 at 3 p.m. to connect with fellow creators, build new relationships, and create unforgettable moments.
Visit creators.africa to register. This event is proudly sponsored by EcoBank and supported by Games on Wheels GH.
This Ghana month, Creator Circle brings... Creator Circle brings you the ultimate creator experience. Play and Connect is back!
An exciting afternoon of fun, games, collaboration, and powerful networking awaits you at the Ghana Village on the Media General premises.
Join us on March 20th, 2026 at 3 p.m. to connect with fellow creators, build new relationships, and create unforgettable moments.
Visit creators.africa to register. This event is proudly sponsored by EcoBank and supported by Games on Wheels GH. That's Ghana Tonight. Now, former legislator and now
new member of parliament, as a matter of fact, in this 9th parliament for the also his constituency, Baba Jamal, was sworn in today as member of parliament elect for the also his constituency. This is his second spell in parliament, but his first spell was a member of parliament for the Akwatia constituency. Now, for also he joins a very, very small group of members of parliament who have represented different constituencies in different regions, in different parliaments. Here's what the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Alban Sumana Kispo-Gbagben, had to say after swearing him in. Take a look.
I, Baba Jamal Mohammed Ahmed, do in the name of the Almighty God swear. Do in the name of the Almighty God swear. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. To the Republic of Ghana as by law established. To the Republic of Ghana as by law established. That I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana. That I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana. And that I will preserve. And that I will preserve. Protect. And defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. And defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. So help me God. So help me God. You now have to swear the oath of a member as by law established. That I will uphold. That I will uphold. Preserve. Protect. And defend the Constitution of the Republic of
And Dr. Jonathan Asante is a political analyst, a senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Just your quick thoughts on the comeback of Baba Jamal, this time as a East Member of Parliament. Now, taking into consideration what preceded his being sworn in today, how do you expect the coming days to be like, and then also his function in this 9th Parliament?
Well, I believe that, let me say good evening, first of all, to your viewers and to your good self. The point ought to be made that Mr. Jamal is a fighter, someone who had to fight both within and without. And I think he has a lot more work to do in Parliament, of course, by ensuring that he patches up with the majority or the rest of majority. And looking at the sheer numbers in terms of the what's called majority side, he may not necessarily play any unique role other than being an MP. But of course, having to be someone who is having a solid background and a firm support of the chairman of the party, probably he may, do certain things that will have to inure to the benefit of the party going forward. Within the constituency itself, if you look at the slim margin of victory that he had in terms of the delegate system for the election, then that should let him understand that he doesn't have control or entire control over the constituency. And so he may have to work a little harder to patch up the differences that is hard with himself and then that of the deceased MP's side, because that was represented by the widow. And so it is obvious that you will have to work a little harder.
Right.
Other than that, in the next delegate system, that could be very difficult for him.
For him. Right. I thank you. Appreciate you for this. Thank you for your quick thoughts on this latest for Baba Jamal. Dr. Jonathan Asante is a senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Before we go, we've received news of a number of areas that have been hit by power outages this evening as a result of the rains. We're getting reports from places such as the Agbogba, and then also the West Legon areas, that's wetlands, and then also Hacho. Some parts of Adenta as well have been hit by the power outages, but the ECG put out this notice before the rain set out this evening that there would be some maintenance taking place, which would lead to some power outages. That's for tomorrow between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. The planned maintenance works to improve service delivery. Affected areas, Kwabeng Township and surrounding areas. Take note. Also, these other areas, Krofofodo, Chirakumfo, Regional Police Headquarters, Pedu, Ebura, Kakumbo, Eswachere, CCTU, Bonkos, Basakrum, Akonoma, and then all these areas you see there on Kwanda and surrounding areas would have power outage between 9 and 3 p.m. tomorrow. That's not the only place. We're also learning as well that as a result of underground cable fault at Boteman, that is somewhere here in the Greater Accra region, the affected areas, you see the Boteman, Snit Flats, and surrounding areas as well. You can find this notice on the ECG social media handles as well, but these areas to expect the power outage, and then also as a result of the rains, we're seeing the lights are off in a number of places. There's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. I am Alfred Okanse. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and